Well, hello and welcome back. It feels like it's been a while. We've had a quick little 4 week break as we had some things to get done, and we didn't want to compromise with what we were coming to you with. So I took 4 weeks off. So thank you, thank you, thank you. So today's topic is really one that's probably close to many people's hearts and also to mine. And I thought it was a timely time to talk about it. So after taking 4 weeks off, made me realize that, hey, we really do not talk about this topic enough. And that's as business owners, we don't take time to put the snooze button on things that we do. We're not always looking after ourselves. And I know I'm a perfect example of someone that doesn't look after myself. And I love to work and I will work constantly. But there's a few things that I've learned recently and I wanted to share them with you. I thought it'd be really important to, maybe get your perspective on it as well. But for me, if I could work all the time, I would. But I've realized a few things. And taking the last 4 weeks off really helped me actually focus on the work that I needed to get done, but it just meant that I gave myself a little bit more time, you know, to do the things that probably I should have been doing before, but I wasn't necessarily doing. So I wanted to share with you, how can we be planning more time for ourselves? How can we be putting more time and a bigger priority on our own time and our own well-being? And it's an interesting conversation because right now we've had 2 years, for a lot of us, we've had 2 years of COVID and trying to, better word, reimagine, redesign, repivot our business to make sure that our businesses stayed alive. And there was a lot of demand and pressure on ourselves. And taking your foot off the accelerator was never the right time. But now, as we're seeing the world starting to open, things are starting to shift, businesses changing. You're definitely seeing a change in that dynamic of where we were, say, 18 months ago or even 2 years ago. But how do we continue to look after ourselves? Because if we're not around, then who's going to look after our business? So it's all about, how do we actually give ourselves the permission, the opportunity to actually take time out and plan time for ourselves. So I just firstly wanted to touch on something that for me is a number one thing that always comes up. And that's that feeling of guilt. So when you're in your own business, you feel that you have to constantly be working. And it's always that saying, don't be busy for busy sake. You need to be busy because you're actually fulfilling something, whether it is money, revenue generating, or it's actually going to amplify your business in some way, shape, or form. When we're self employed or we're running our own business, sometimes we feel like we have to be seen to be busy, and it's not the case. And if we're not seen to be busy, we feel guilty. It's not the way it is. It's our own interpretation of what people are thinking rather than what actually is happening. Quite often, a lot of our friends would be really happy if we actually just put our business on hold for a moment and spent time with them. But it also comes back to the fact that when we've been growing up in a society where being busy shows you being productive and shows that you're doing a good job, isn't, again, always the case. So we have to defunk this feeling of feeling guilty, because really, if we burn ourselves out, what good are we to anyone? We're actually no good to anyone. So it's really important that when we're thinking about what people are thinking about, we just need to ignore it. We need to come back to what's important to us. And it's also about setting those boundaries with our own selves when we're working in a business and we're working on a business, of how much are we prepared to do and how much time are we prepared to give ourselves when we're working. Now, I recently read a book. Well, it's probably not recent, but a while ago, and it's something that's always lingered around in the back of my mind. And it's the Richard Branson book. And if you've ever read his first book, it's quite interesting. There's lots of learnings around how he has dealt with business and the transitions from records through to the trains, then to the planes. But one thing he used to do is he used to make sure that he blocked out his diary. And this is a common technique for people, is actually planting time in your diary for you. Now, quite often you would say to people, hey, look, just block out some time. And people just go, no, 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 no. It goes back to that first point. They feel too guilty to actually block out time. Now, I block out time in my diary. Fair to say, sometimes I don't always actually fulfill that commitment to myself, but sometimes I do. And when I do, how do I feel? I feel amazing for it. It's amazing that when you actually block time out for yourself and you fulfill the things you need to do, it's great. But we do go back to that first point. Sometimes we feel guilty for doing it, especially if we're taking time off during the middle of the day and we know that everyone else is working. But it's okay, because I bet you any money you've probably worked your whole weekend whilst everyone else is having fun. And then you take this one little minuscule moment to have some time for yourself, and you don't allow yourself to have that little pleasure. It's really important that we allow ourselves this time off. So blocking out your diary. Now, I do this generally over a long period of time, trying to commit myself to these times. And I try really, really hard not to break that commitment to myself. Now, I've been doing this for about 6 months now. Occasionally I slip up, but there's a few things that I do that are really important to me, and that is exercise. So if I'm not exercising, I'm an absolute twat. So for me, I block in time to do exercise in my diary. And if a commitment or a work commitment comes up, I really try hard to try and manipulate it around so I still get my hour or my hour and a half of exercise. And then I can meet people around those times. But it could be something different for you. And I'd love to hear if you've got a technique to actually blocking out time and what you do to make your life a little bit better and that balance when it comes to working. But I love the fact that once I established it and I removed the guilt from actually blocking time out, that it normalized it. And it's really hard when you first start out. You just think the world is going to end if you do not respond to that email. I'll tell you what, there is lots of people that don't respond to your emails. There's lots of people that take days, weeks, months to respond to your email. And just because you think that you have to respond to everyone in a matter of time doesn't mean that you have to actually do that. Yes, there's a thing called customer service, and you want to keep a level of professionalism within your business, but you can, but don't ever do it at the detriment of your own well-being. And now more than ever, the way that connectivity is and how information comes so quickly, we just have to slow it down. We don't want our life to disappear because we were too busy answering emails or attending meetings. So make sure you block time out in your diary. Now, I want to expand on this one extra bit. I was reading something recently and it really got me thinking. Now, when we are young or when we're learning, we learn to train, we practice things, we repeat things. If we want to go to the gym, we do exercise and we use those muscles over and over again. The funny thing is that our brain is actually a muscle. And when we are exercising, so if you think about when you go to the gym, you may go to the gym for an hour and you get tired, you get sweaty, and that's enough. But when we work and when we become workaholics, we're actually exercising that muscle all day. And then we go to bed and then we get up and then we exercise it all day. And what happens is we get fatigue. And so the longer we keep stretching that routine out without having a break and normalizing the fact that you need to have a break, you actually take longer to do your work. You're not achieving as much as you were when you're actually fully rested. And some amazing, great people are able, or we shouldn't say great people, don't say that, Tracy, but people that are able to separate their work life from their personal life and have those breaks are generally more productive than those that just keep working. Now, I'm happy to debate this, and I think there's some people that don't fit those molds, and others that do. But it's in the sense of training. If we are constantly working our bodies and not giving it a break, of course it's going to fall over, and we don't want it to fall over. So this is why it's really important. So we don't want to feel guilty for what we're doing. So we have to remove the guilt that comes with actually allowing yourself to have pleasure, a break, go on holiday. I mean, I know that probably people that are watching this right now, you've had a holiday, but you still got your work computer out. I'm one of those. But I still set myself boundaries, because I am learning now that if I allow myself to have a break, then I'm going to be more productive when it comes to actually doing the job. You'll be fresher, you'll be more creative, and you'll be able to get the job done more successfully. Now, we used to have a saying where I used to work where you need time to dream. If you don't have time, you can't dream. And it's so true. If we don't give ourselves time to think, to work, to dream, and think big about a business, then we're never going to move forward. We're just going to keep doing the same things over and over again. So I ask you, if you are someone that works for yourself, if you are an entrepreneur, or if you're someone in a business and you're working for management and you are just working like a dog and you haven't had a chance to have a break, firstly, give yourself some time. Block it out. Put it in your diary. You don't need to tell anyone what it is. You can turn around and say it's a doctor's appointment. Put time in your diary, because let's be honest, you're never going to get that time back that you give to a business or to your employer. You're only going to get, you won't even get money in some cases. You've just given your dedication with no return back. So pop a calendar, block your calendar out, tell the world, tell your staff, tell your partner, your friends, this is what you're going to be doing. Take some time out. It could be going and getting a manicure, a massage. It could be going for a run. It could be going to the gym. In my case, it's going for a bike ride. Just give yourselves those small pleasures and start off small. It may be just once a week, but then moving it into twice a week. Now, we only are meant to work, if you're employed, 8 hours a day. If you're self-employed, you're probably working in between that 9 to 10 hours a day. It's a kind of a little bit kind of standard. You do that work hours and then you've got some stuff outside of it. But just remember, our body, as our muscle, our brain, cannot sustain long use of workouts. So if you want to work the body out, you also need to give it rest. And you're no good to anyone if that rest turns to falling in a heap. Okay. So I just want to remind you that. So I wanted to share this because I'm a perfect example of not listening to myself. And when it comes to taking care of myself, I'm usually the last one to do it. So if you are watching this and you're in that camp, please give us a thumbs up. I'm usually the last to look after myself when it comes to taking time off. But I am realizing more and more that I'm actually better off taking a moment. I'm better off giving this big muscle. I'm not going to say I've got a big head, but this big muscle a break. And when I do give it a break, I actually come back faster, stronger, and better. So I highly recommend that. A couple of things, and just recapping. Firstly, don't feel guilty about taking time off. Now, if you're a serial time taker offer, feel guilty. But if you're someone that dedicates yourself to getting your job done correctly and on time and giving 110% all the time, you need to give yourself a break. So don't feel guilty. Block it out in your calendar. Make sure that you dedicate that time and you hold yourself accountable to that time. Really important. Don't keep moving it. Don't put it off. As soon as you put it off, it will never happen. Start small, once a week, and then maybe move to twice or even 3 times a week, just so that you've got a chance to have a break. And remember, it's your time. It's not someone else's time. It's not go and help someone else do something else. It's your time. It could be having a nap. It doesn't matter what it is. Make sure that it's something that you enjoy doing and it's for you and you only. And then thirdly, don't overtrain the muscle. Don't overtrain the brain, because it will be no good to you and it'll be no good to anyone else. We always want to be at our best. We always want to make sure that when we're serving clients or working with our peers, we want to make sure that we're always at our best. So if you're overworking the muscle, you're actually no good to anyone. Now, I hope this has been of some benefit. I just felt that it was time to just kind of share some things that I've been finding, and hopefully it's of help. But I do hope you take a little bit of that advice and make sure that you become a better person by having a break and allowing yourself to have a break. Now, if you do have any questions, or hey, if you enjoy what we do, please like, share, or tag someone. I'll be back next week with something different. I'm not quite sure yet. Now, the reason that we have a different background this week is I forgot the power cable and I couldn't put my computer in the same spot as normal. That's just what comes with live streaming. So I look forward to catching you next week, same time, Thursday, 1:30 p.m. New Zealand time. If you do have anything that you'd like us to cover off, let us know. But we're here to share, help small businesses, take that journey in their business. And I look forward to seeing you next Thursday. Until then, bye.